I'm Nima Rajan. Lebanon's Prime Minister Hassan Diab is appealing to all countries and friends of Lebanon to extend help to the small nation. The Prime Minister gave a short televised speech the morning after a massive explosion in Beirut's port killed at least 100 people and wounded thousands. I'm Nima Rajan. Thousands of pages of newly released documents back up the Trudeau government's version of the events in the We Charity affair. The PM has insisted it was federal public servants who recommended a student service grant program be administered by We Charity. But the documents also suggest that Youth Minister Bardish Chegar helped get We Charity on her bureaucrats' radar, and political staff in former Finance Minister Bill Morneau's office helped keep it there. I'm Nima Rajan. Canadian charities are worried about the long-term negative impacts of the ongoing We controversy on Parliament Hill. Bruce McDonald of Imagine Canada says the concerns are that donors will pull back on giving money or volunteering their time due to a lack of trust in how it's used. Joining me now is Mr. Bruce McDonald, the President and CEO of Imagine Canada. Bruce, again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So let's start with this, Bruce. How is the charity sector reacting to the We controversy?
Well, I think first and foremost, there's concern.
Now, we did mention that a lot of patients are avoiding clinics because they are crowded or cannot afford the transport fares to get to these clinics. So what alternate distribution methods can or are being explored to ensure HIV patients receive the treatment?
Well, what we're really encouraging countries to do, and actually we started this before the COVID pandemic, but it's become even more critically important.
This is something that is true, but doesn't mean that COVID-19 is not dangerous to young and healthy people.
Now, following up on that answer, how dangerous is the COVID-19 virus to young and relatively healthy people?
I think that's a great question because no one really focuses on the danger that young people face with COVID-19. So let's talk numbers for a second.
So what can Canadians do right now to protect their information and prevent future cyber attacks like this one? Well, joining me now is the CEO of Cyber Hunter Solutions, Mr. Chris Dodunsky. Thank you for your time today, sir.
Good afternoon.
So can you take us through how the hackers were able to get through a secured government website? The guidelines indicate that common medical advice for obese patients to eat less and exercise more isn't really helping them. So how should obesity be handled in the medical space? Well, joining me now is Dr. Stephen Glazer, the president of the Canadian Association of Bariatric Physicians and Surgeons. Doctor, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me today.
So what triggered the development of these guidelines? So how can Canadians reduce their plastics in a safe way during this pandemic?
Well, for sure, we can all use reusable masks. We've seen some governments giving out single-use masks. We can use those for one day, and we know that we might be in this for months, maybe even years.
But as we head into uncharted territories in the upcoming school year, it's important to think of mental health as well as physical health. After the severity of the pandemic at its peak, some students are expressing fear and concern when it comes to returning to school. So how do we tackle this issue to make sure our kids are both safe inside and out? Joining me now is Sean Bayliss, the CEO of Patstone Mental Health. Thank you for your time today, Sean.
Oh, you're very welcome.
So what do we do if our kids are expressing fear or anxiety when it comes to returning to school? But an international trade expert says Canada can expect more U.S. moves, like the imposition of aluminum import taxes. Jack Mintz from the School of Public Policy at the University of Calgary says protectionism is gaining popularity. And this is not the first time that Canada has been in a tariff dispute with the U.S. How do you think Canada should respond?
Well, I think Canada will retaliate.
Canada's Chief Public Health Officer says she is as anxious as anyone for a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine to be ready. But Dr. Teresa Tam says getting one quickly doesn't mean compromising safety. COVID-19 has left its mark on every corner of the world. With over 20 million global cases reported since the pandemic began and nearly 750,000 deaths worldwide, some experts say the recovery from this pandemic will take years. The virus has crashed economies, broken healthcare systems, filled hospitals, and made going out in public a question of safety. Up next, a new Canadian humanitarian group looks to make a difference after the deadly explosion in Beirut. More after the break. Stay with us. Public anger continues to mount in Lebanon after last week's deadly explosion in Beirut that killed at least 200 people and injured about 5,000. The disaster was caused by a large fire at the port of Beirut, which was storing over 2,700 tons of the explosive substance ammonium nitrate. All right, that'll do it for your look at national and international news for today. For News on Demand, log on to the newsforum.ca and make sure to follow us online on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll see you next time.